Hi everyone, how's everyone doing here today? And today I just wanted to briefly talk about diversity. It's in regard to some of the recent things that have been going on within our political system, within other states. And one focus point was last year, I believe it was June of 2022, we regrettably had yet another shooting. It happened at a supermarket in Buffalo, New York, where a person, a certain racist type, driven by social media. I believe the name was Peyton Gendron. He was about 18 years old. He shot 10 people at a supermarket where it was pretty much a black community and everything. And if I'm not mistaken, he got a lot of his talking points from people like Tucker Carlson back when he was at Fox. No big surprise there, because he too is a racist, prefers to live in a fascist world, in his little narrow-minded way of thinking. Stuff like that. And also, again, if I'm not mistaken, I believe he had some issues with diversity, people like certain other members on the right who would put out talking points like, the white people are under attack, we're under threat because of becoming extinct. Okay, for the less educated out there, that's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Okay, let's be real here, all right? I've driven cross country. I've been to different states in America. Not all 50 states, I'd like to, but these things do take time. But one thing I can assure you is, in every town, every state I went through, there was always a good amount of white people to be seen. Some of them had different lifestyles, depending on the state that I went to, but for the most part, they were there. And there were other races too, other minorities as well. That's why they always regard them as minorities, because white is always the majority there. So I don't understand what the problem is, as far as that whole racist way of thinking goes. Like we see going out, we got white Christian nationalism. They want a community that is just all white, all straight. That's not going to happen either, okay? Not to get off topic, but people of different walks of life, different orientations, even different identities, they're not going anywhere. They make a minority, but they're still there. They're real. They're not going anywhere. What I don't understand is, what is really the problem that some people have with diversity? I'm talking to the racists out there. I mean, let's be honest. Why is that such a problem? Because some people I know rarely travel. Regardless of the race. They live in a particular state, they rarely ever leave that state, if not never. And they just, for some reason, they're quite content where they are. Now, is there anything wrong with that? No, not really. To me, it's just, somebody gave it an example. Whether it's within your country or within the world, life, all the places around you, it is like a book, a very thick book, of many chapters, of many different stories, of many different tales. Now, if you choose to limit yourself to just one particular state, that's kind of only reading one single chapter in this vast book of experience and knowledge. And that kind of limits yourself. And again, I'm not trying to guilt trip anyone. If that is what you really choose, there's nothing wrong with that. As long as it's not based on bigotry. I should at least say at that point. I've visited other parts of the country, which I do recommend. I've driven cross country, which, again, I strongly recommend people try that, living in America. But more importantly, I have been to other countries in the past. The younglings are getting restless. As I was saying, I have traveled to other countries. Not as many as some. There's more traveling I want to do in my life. And what I can tell you is that diversity is a strength in America, okay? Let's be real. My, ancestry immigrated here from Europe, different parts of Europe. I'm not Native American Indian, obviously, okay? I never have been. And even if you are, there's nothing wrong with that. I think that's a good thing. But truth be told is, my ancestors came here from other countries in Europe, and they settled down in here. And do I have any plans of moving to another country? So far, no. But my point is that we have other nationalities coming into our country all the time, and that gives us our strength, which goes back to my point of traveling to other countries, which I recommend people do. One, it's not as expensive as you may think, depending where you go. Yeah, it can be pricey, but if you budget yourself and you plan ahead a little bit, you can do it. And I would recommend see as many countries as you can, because one key takeaway, I'm not going to go into specific countries, okay, because there's so many to choose from, is that when I go to them, the one thing I've always noticed, first and foremost, is all the differences in the way of life, the culture, the music, the visuals, the architecture. Yeah, there are all the touristy spots in certain countries, but there's also other places to see. And by observing those differences, you get a better understanding of what life is. Okay? Whether you think the United States is the greatest country in all of the world, that's open to debate. I'm not here to debate that either. But are we perfect? Assuming you believe that we are the best. Are we perfect? No, we're not. So how do you learn? Well, you learn by listening to other people, by looking at certain things that other countries do and trying to utilize their ways of life to try and improve ours. Okay? Whether it's done politically on a nationwide scale, well, that's up to Congress. But I'm not trying to make this about a political talk. I'm trying to make this more like an anti-racist, anti-bigot discussion. Because, like I said, if you just limit yourself to one country, you're letting other good life experiences pass you by. And why would you want to do that? If in the end that's your choice, so be it. But I can tell you from experience, by going to other countries, you can learn things. Not just different languages, but different ways of life and how their cultures can improve your lifestyle, your way of life. Okay? There's a lot of examples I could give to you, but my feeling is, if you do have the opportunity, go see other countries. And if you move into a neighborhood, if you travel to another place in America, and you suddenly notice it's like a mixed bag of different nationalities, don't look at it as a threat. Don't look at it as, hey, white people were under attack or something. We're not under attack. Like I said, there's always going to be future generations within the white race. But there's also other races, and eventually it boils down to one particular race. That is the human race. You don't believe me? At my job, we also have, I always like to use the term salable, not melting pot, which is a common term people throw around. The problem I have with melting pot is that it implies conformity, which is important to a certain degree. I've talked about this before. Let's say I move to another country for a job for whatever reason. And now nobody speaks English. What am I going to do? Am I going to try and push my language on them? No, I've moved into their territory. So I should try to learn their language because it would be better for me to live and do the day-to-day things in life. Like shopping, going to laundromats, or just going to public places and exploring recreation and entertainment. And when other people come to this country, yeah, I think it's important that they learn English as well, so it's easier for them to live. Even if they live in a part of town where, let's say one part of town that's predominantly Latino or African American or Asian, it's important to still learn the language as well. Because by doing that, you're also increasing your knowledge, okay? And that goes both ways. So, as I was saying at my job, not only are you exposed to other languages, but you also get to explore other cultures too. Sometimes I sit down and talk to them about different restaurants or different places, depending on what their race is. Like Latinos, and there's a whole bunch of different kind, whether it's, from Central America or South America. I've talked to them and I've recommended what's like a good type of restaurant. Like let's say they're from Mexico or El Salvador or somewhere else, or Colombia. What are the type of places the way to get a better understanding of their culture. It is important to explore these things because, again, you can learn from them. If in the end you decide to, shut yourself out from all that, if you somehow think like I can only be comfortable around white people, then I don't know what to tell you. Other than that is your choice, but you're kind of selling yourself short. You're selling yourself out from other experiences, not just from a nationwide, from a global level. I say the same thing about the United States. Explore other states and see how they live. You may see things that you might be able to learn from, or different parts of America that you can also learn from. But remember, you're living in a vast world of different people of all walks of life. If you only choose, like I said, to only stick to yourself, your own kind, then I don't know what to tell you other than you've chosen a rather strange hill to die on. It's still your choice. I'll respect that, but don't let it be about bigotry. Don't let it be about hate. Don't let it be about trying to compare yourself where one race is better than the other. Because sometimes there are things about my culture, the countries that I come from, that sometimes I talk about with other people from other races, from other parts of the United States, or from other countries in general. They can learn from you too as well. So it's a good way to share knowledge and improve your way of life. Because as you start to travel, as you start to see things, it can change you in a positive way. So, why shut yourself out from those opportunities? I don't care what certain hate groups have to say. In America, there is diversity. It is our strength. Some of them will try and pivot as far as the immigration problem goes. Is that a problem? Yeah. But there are ways of resolving it. But that's where you got to focus on the politics within our country in order for them to do that. And if you're leaning towards politicians that are driven by bigotry, you're not solving the problem. You're only hurting people, up to and including Americans. But when you start focusing on humanitarian solutions and stuff like that, that strengthens America. That shows that we are the land of opportunity, that there is the diversity for people to come down here for. There's no reason why we should be shutting anyone out, unless they're here for bad intentions. But a lot of immigrations are not here for that. So, in the end, the choice is yours. I'm really hoping you'll make the right choice. And like I said, if you haven't explored the United States, what are you waiting for? Get out and make the time. Find the opportunity. Why aren't you exploring other countries? What are you waiting for? Pick a country. It could be of your ancestry origin, or just some other country in general that you're curious about. Make the time and make the effort, because believe me, you won't regret it. So, anyway, thank you for watching. I really hope you understand.